Humanity on trial. The grand halls of the Galactic Council echoed with the murmurs of 1,000 alien delegates as Earth's ambassador, Lisa Kenton, took the central podium. Her heart raced, palms sweaty, as she faced the sea of hostile faces. The trial of humanity had begun. Distinguished members of the Council, Lisa began, her voice amplified throughout the chamber. I stand before you today to address the accusations against Earth and its colonies. We come in peace, seeking cooperation and mutual understanding. The Zorgan representative, a towering insectoid being, rose on its spindly legs. Humans have proven themselves to be a disruptive and aggressive species, it buzzed. Your rapid expansion and unpredictable behavior pose a threat to galactic stability. We demand your containment. Liza raised her chin defiantly. Expansion is the natural right of any civilization. We have followed every treaty, every rule set forth by this council. You cannot punish us for our success. Murmurs rippled through the gathered aliens. A regal Aetherian spoke, her melodic voice tinged with concern. Your species' penchant for violence and conflict is well documented. How can we trust that you will not bring your destructive tendencies to our peaceful worlds? Every species has a history of conflict, Lisa countered. We have learned from our past and united in ways few others have. Let our actions, not our ancestors' wars, define us. The debate raged on for hours, with Lisa passionately defending humanity's place among the stars. But as the votes were tallied, a sinking realization settled in her gut. The Council's fear had blinded them to reason. High Counselor Zorax, a formidable Krellian with eyes like smoldering coals, rose to deliver the verdict. The Galactic Council has reached a decision. Effective immediately, Earth and its colonies are placed under strict quarantine. Your ships will be grounded, your people contained to your home system. Until such time as you prove yourselves worthy, you are hereby cut off from the galactic community. Shock and outrage surged through Liza's veins. You can't do this. Isolating us will only breed resentment and mistrust. Give us a chance to prove ourselves as allies, not prisoners. Zorax's gaze was unyielding. The decision is final. You have brought this upon yourselves. Guards, escort the ambassador back to her ship. We are finished here. As the guards flanked Lisa, she cast one last defiant glare at the council. You think you can contain humanity? You have no idea what you've unleashed. We will not be caged like animals. This isn't over. Liza was marched back to her vessel, her mind reeling with the implications of the council's proclamation. As she watched the great station shrink in the viewscreen, a fierce determination ignited within her. Earth would not go quietly into the night. News of the Council's verdict spread like wildfire across human space. Shock gave way to fury as the quarantine barriers snapped into place, cutting off colonies and trade routes. On Earth, riots erupted in the streets, citizens demanding action against the alien oppressors. In the halls of power, Earth's leaders gathered, their faces grim with resolve. President Aiden Novak, a man with steel in his eyes, addressed the assembly. The Galactic Council has made a grave mistake. They believe they can subjugate humanity, to keep us in our place like obedient pets. They are wrong. A chorus of agreement echoed through the chamber. Novak continued, his voice rising with each word. We will not bow to their tyranny. We will not languish in isolation. If the galaxy fears our strength, then let us show them the true might of Earth. Cheers erupted as Novak laid out his plan. We have secrets the Council knows nothing about. Technologies, weapons, breakthroughs they can scarcely imagine. It's time to unleash our full potential. It's time to make them regret the day they dared to cross humanity. As the meeting adjourned, a palpable energy crackled through the air. Earth was united as never before, bonded by a common enemy and an unbreakable resolve. In secret labs and hidden bases, scientists and soldiers prepared for the fight ahead. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. Now they would learn the true meaning of human ingenuity and defiance. The Council had started this war, but Earth would be the one to finish it. And when the dust settled, the universe would never be the same again. Isolation and defiance. In the days following the Council's decree, humanity grappled with the grim reality of their isolation. The energy barriers surrounding Earth and its colonies shimmered in the void, an ever-present reminder of their forced containment. On Mars, Governor Eliza Cassidy stood before a crowd of angry colonists, their faces etched with frustration and fear. "We will not be prisoners on our own worlds," she declared, her voice ringing with defiance. "The Council may have cut us off, but they cannot break our spirit. We will find a way to fight back." Across the solar system, a sense of unity began to emerge. Old rivalries and conflicts were set aside as humanity banded together against a common foe. In underground labs and secret facilities, top scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets that would give Earth the edge it needed. At the Prometheus Research Institute on Titan, Dr. Liam Callahan pored over schematics for a revolutionary new propulsion system. "Quantum entanglement drive," he muttered, his eyes alight with excitement. "If we can perfect this technology, we'll be able to bypass the Council's barriers undetected." In the halls of Earth's governments, military leaders conferred with their counterparts on the colonies, drafting strategies and contingencies. General Maya Nakamura, a veteran of countless skirmishes with hostile alien species, spoke with grim determination. "We've been underestimated before. They think isolation will break us, but it will only make us stronger. We'll show them what humans are truly capable of." As the weeks turned into months, the Council watched Earth with growing unease. High Counselor Zorax frowned at the reports from their monitoring stations. "They're up to something," he growled. "This silence, this apparent compliance, it doesn't sit right. Double the patrols around their system. I want to know if so much as a single human ship tries to breach the quarantine." But while the Council watched the skies, Earth was preparing for a different kind of war. In secret meetings and encrypted communications, a plan began to take shape. They would not challenge the Council head-on. Not yet. First, they needed to gather intelligence, to find weaknesses in their enemy's armor. In a nondescript building in Sydney, a team of hackers and computer experts worked around the clock, probing the Council's networks for vulnerabilities. Led by Mira Singh, a brilliant young coder with a rebellious streak, they searched for any crack in the alien firewall. "I'm in," Mira whispered one night, her fingers flying across the holographic keyboard. "I found a backdoor into their communications hub. It's heavily encrypted, but give me time. I'll find a way to listen in on their chatter." As Mira and her team chipped away at the Council's digital defenses, other humans were preparing for a more physical infiltration. In a secret training facility on Luna, a group of elite operatives honed their skills, learning to blend in among alien populations. Agent Kai Tanaka, a master of disguise and infiltration, put his trainees through their paces. "The Council thinks they know us," he said, his voice low and intense. "They think they can predict our every move. But they've never faced an enemy like us before. We'll strike from the shadows, gather their secrets, and use their own weapons against them." As Earth's plans took shape, whispers began to spread among the colonies. Rumors of secret projects and hidden weapons, of humans who could walk unseen among the stars. The Council, in their arrogance, dismissed these rumors as the desperate fantasies of a contained species. But they were wrong. Humanity was not contained, not truly. In the depths of space, far beyond the Council's watchful eyes, a hidden shipyard buzzed with activity. Here, the first of Earth's stealth ships took form, sleek and deadly, built to infiltrate and sabotage. Admiral Elena Ivanova stood on the observation deck, watching as the final pieces of the flagship were welded into place. "The Council thinks they've caged us," she murmured, a fierce smile playing at the corners of her lips. "But they've only awakened the sleeping giant. When we strike, they won't know what hit them." As the stealth ships neared completion, and the hackers burrowed deeper into alien networks, a sense of anticipation grew among Earth's leaders. They knew the road ahead would be long and perilous, that sacrifices would be made and battles fought. But they also knew that humanity had faced extinction before and emerged stronger for it. The Galactic Council had made a grave mistake in underestimating Earth. Now, in the shadows and the silence, humanity was preparing to show the universe what it truly meant to be human. The seeds of rebellion had been planted, and soon, the galaxy would witness the fury of an unleashed humanity. The Council's days of dominion were numbered, and Earth would be the one to bring them crashing down. Breaching the barrier. Deep within the Prometheus Research Institute, Dr. Liam Callahan and his team huddled around a sleek, obsidian ship. The Phantom, the first of Earth's stealth vessels, hummed with barely contained power. "The quantum entanglement drive is online," Liam announced, his voice tight with anticipation. "If our calculations are correct, we should be able to phase through the quarantine barrier undetected." Commander Nora Patel, the Phantom's pilot, ran her hand along the ship's smooth hull. "Let's find out if all those late nights paid off. It's time to take this bird for a spin." As the Phantom lifted off, disappearing into the inky blackness of space, a hush fell over the control room. Every eye was glued to the monitors, tracking the ship's progress. The Phantom approached the shimmering wall of energy that encased the solar system. Nora's fingers danced across the controls, engaging the quantum drive. For a moment, the ship seemed to flicker, its form growing translucent. Then, in a burst of ethereal light, it vanished, passing through the barrier as if it were nothing more than a ghostly mirage. Cheers erupted in the control room as the Phantom emerged unscathed on the other side. "We did it," Liam exclaimed, his face split wide with a grin. "The Council won't know what hit them." News of the successful breach spread like wildfire through Earth's resistance network. In hidden bases and secret labs, a flurry of activity erupted as more stealth ships were prepared for their maiden voyages. On the Phantom, Nora and her crew marveled at the wonders of the uncharted galaxy. They visited alien worlds and observed Council activities, gathering valuable intelligence for the coming fight. Back on Earth, Meera Singh and her team of hackers worked tirelessly to exploit the vulnerabilities they had uncovered in the Council's networks. "I've gained access to their communication protocols," Meera reported, her eyes glinting with triumph. "We can intercept their transmissions, plant false information. They'll be chasing ghosts while we operate right under their noses." As more stealth ships slipped through the barrier, humanity's reach extended further into the galaxy. They mapped trade routes, identified key Council facilities, and forged alliances with disgruntled alien factions who chafed under the Council's rule. On the planet Zephyria, a team of human operatives made contact with a rebel group known as the Crimson Dawn. Led by the charismatic Zephyrian warrior Talon Rowe, the rebels had long dreamed of overthrowing the Council's oppressive regime. "We have a common enemy," Talon said, clasping hands with the human commander. "Together, we can strike at the heart of the Council and bring about a new era of freedom for all species." As alliances were forged in secret, the Council remained oblivious to the growing threat. They patrolled the quarantine zone with smug satisfaction, confident in their unassailable control. But cracks were beginning to show in their seemingly impenetrable facade. Anomalies and glitches plagued their systems, the result of Meera's team's relentless digital assault. Council ships reported strange sightings, glimpses of ghostly vessels that vanished before they could be pursued. High Councilor Zorax paced his chambers, a growing unease gnawing at his gut. "Something is not right," he muttered, scanning the latest reports. "These disturbances, these whispers of human activity beyond the barrier, we must get to the bottom of this." But even as Zorax sought answers, humanity's plans were already in motion. In the depths of Council space, human saboteurs infiltrated key installations, planting explosives and sowing chaos. On the factory world of Praxis, a series of precisely coordinated explosions ripped through the planet's primary manufacturing complex. Council ships, once built to enforce the quarantine, now lay in smoldering ruins. In the aftermath of the attack, whispers began to circulate among the Council's subjects. Rumors of a human resistance, of a coming reckoning. The seeds of rebellion, once dormant, now stirred to life. As humanity's invisible war raged on, Earth's leaders knew that the true battle was yet to come. They stockpiled weapons, gathered allies, and prepared for the inevitable confrontation. In a secret bunker deep beneath the surface of Mars, President Novik met with his inner circle. "The Council will not give up their power easily," he warned, his face lined with grim determination. "But we have the element of surprise on our side. We will strike hard and fast, and we will not stop until humanity is free." The pieces were falling into place. The Council, once the unassailable masters of the galaxy, now found themselves beset on all sides by an enemy they had grossly underestimated. Humanity, the species they had sought to contain, now threatened to bring their entire empire crashing down. The stage was set for a final, explosive confrontation. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and humanity would stop at nothing to claim its rightful place among the stars. Infiltration and sabotage. As Earth's stealth ships wove their way through Council space, a new phase of the invisible war began. Human operatives, trained in the art of infiltration and sabotage, slipped onto key Council worlds, blending seamlessly into alien populations. On the capital world of Arcturus, Agent Kai Tanaka moved through the glittering spires of the Council's central command like a ghost. Disguised as a high-ranking Arcturian official, he infiltrated the heart of the enemy's power structure. In the Council's data vaults, Kai planted a series of sophisticated viruses, each one designed to corrupt and destroy critical information. As the viruses spread, the Council's carefully maintained facade of control began to crack. Reports of system failures and data breaches flooded in from across Council space. Ships lost navigation, communications went dark, and sensitive files vanished into the ether. The Council scrambled to contain the damage, but the viruses were too clever, too adaptive. In the shadows, Kai and his fellow operatives watched with grim satisfaction as the Council's iron grip on the galaxy began to falter. They gathered intel, mapped out weak points, and laid the groundwork for the coming storm. But the Council was not entirely blind to the growing threat. In the halls of power, a small cadre of leaders began to suspect that something was amiss. They noted the strange glitches, the unexplained disturbances, and the mounting unrest among their subjugated worlds. High Counselor Jean, a shrewd and ruthless Saphirian, called a clandestine meeting of her most trusted advisors. "The humans are behind this," she declared, her eyes narrowed with suspicion. "They are not as contained as we believed." Jean dispatched her own network of spies and assassins to root out the human infiltrators. A deadly game of cat and mouse ensued, with Kai and his team always one step ahead of their pursuers. On the planet Nexus, a human operative named Sasha Ivanov hacked into the Council's communication network, intercepting encrypted transmissions and feeding false information back into the system. Sasha's manipulations sowed confusion and paranoia among the Council's ranks, turning allies against each other and sparking internal power struggles. As the Council's grip on power weakened, dissent began to spread among the alien populations. Long-suppressed resentments and desires for freedom bubbled to the surface, fueled by whispers of human resistance. On the mining world of Krios, a massive uprising erupted among the downtrodden workers. Inspired by stories of human defiance, the Kriosians cast off their chains and seized control of the planet's vital resources. The Council's response was swift and brutal, but the rebellion had taken hold, and it would not be easily quelled. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out on a dozen worlds. The Council found itself beset on all sides, struggling to maintain control as their empire crumbled around them. In the midst of the chaos, mysterious accidents and disappearances plagued the Council's leadership. High-ranking officials vanished without a trace, while others fell victim to accidents that bore the unmistakable mark of human sabotage. On Arcturus, High Counselor Zorax was found dead in his chambers, his body ravaged by an unknown toxin. The Council's security forces were baffled, unable to trace the source of the poison. As fear and paranoia gripped the Council, Earth's leaders watched with a mix of satisfaction and grim determination. They knew that the real battle was still to come, that the Council would not relinquish its power without a fight. In secret meetings and encrypted transmissions, Earth's resistance planned its final move. They would strike at the heart of the Council's power, in a coordinated assault that would shake the foundations of the galactic order. But even as they prepared for the final confrontation, Earth's leaders knew that victory would come at a cost. They had unleashed the fury of a species pushed to the brink, and there would be no turning back. In the depths of space, Earth's stealth fleet gathered, ready to strike at a moment's notice. On the bridge of the flagship, Admiral Ivanova steeled herself for the battle to come. "We have endured the unendurable," she said, her voice ringing with resolve. "We have watched as the Council sought to crush our spirit, to lock us away like animals in a cage. But they have only succeeded in unleashing the full might of human wrath." As the fleet prepared to engage, the weight of history hung heavy on their shoulders. They knew that the coming battle would determine not only the fate of humanity, but the destiny of the entire galaxy. The Council, once the unassailable masters of the stars, now teetered on the brink of collapse. And humanity, the species they had dismissed as primitive and unruly, now held the power to remake the galactic order in their own image. The stage was set for a final, cataclysmic showdown. The invisible war was about to become a very visible one, and the galaxy would tremble before the fury of Earth's revenge. The invisible war. As the Council reeled from the escalating attacks, Earth's operatives pressed their advantage. Across the galaxy, human agents sowed discord and confusion, turning the Council's own weapons against them. On Zephyria, Talon Row and her Crimson Dawn rebels launched a series of daring raids on Council outposts. Armed with human-supplied tech, they struck with devastating precision. The Council's forces, once thought invincible, crumbled under the onslaught. In the shadows of cyberspace, Mira Singh's team unleashed a new breed of viruses, targeting the Council's most sensitive systems. Defense grids faltered, life support systems flickered, and the Council's iron grip on information began to slip. Panic and paranoia gripped the Council's leadership as they struggled to contain the mounting chaos. Accusations flew and old rivalries resurfaced. In the absence of a clear enemy, they turned on each other, fracturing the once unified front. Amidst the turmoil, Earth's stealth ships continued their unseen campaign, striking at critical infrastructure and disappearing before the Council could muster a response. The Phantom and her sister ships became the stuff of legend, ghostly wraiths that haunted the Council's nightmares. On Earth, President Novak and his inner circle monitored the unfolding chaos with grim satisfaction. They knew that the Council's power was crumbling, but they also knew that the greatest test was yet to come. In a secure bunker deep beneath the Martian surface, Admiral Ivanova briefed her fellow commanders on the final phase of the plan. "We have the Council on the ropes," she said, her eyes gleaming with determination. "But they will not go quietly. We must be prepared for their final desperate stand." As the stealth fleet massed for the coming assault, Earth's hackers launched their most audacious attack yet. In a coordinated strike, they'd breached the Council's central command network, flooding it with a cascade of contradictory orders and false information. Council ships fired on each other, mistaking allies for enemies. Planetary defenses went haywire, targeting their own cities. The chaos was total, and in the midst of it all, Earth's fleet made its move. In a blinding flash of quantum energy, the human armada materialized in the heart of Council space. The Phantom led the charge, her sleek hull glinting in the starlight. The Council's ships, caught off guard and in disarray, scrambled to respond. The battle was joined, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Earth's ships, armed with advanced weapons and shielded by quantum stealth, tore through the Council's defenses like a hot knife through butter. But the Council, even in its weakened state, was not to be underestimated. They rallied their remaining forces, determined to crush the human uprising once and for all. The two fleets clashed in a maelstrom of fire and fury, filling the void with the wreckage of shattered ships. On the bridge of the Phantom, Commander Patel gritted her teeth as the ship shuddered under a barrage of enemy fire. "Hold the line," she shouted, her voice rising above the din of battle. "We will not falter, not now, not ever." As the battle raged, a desperate plan took shape in the mind of High Counselor Jean. If the Council could not have the galaxy, then no one would. She gave the order to activate the Doomsday device, a weapon of last resort that would unleash a wave of destructive energy across the stars. But even as the device powered up, Earth's hackers were already in motion. Led by Mira Singh, they launched a final desperate assault on the Council's systems, seeking to shut down the device before it could be fired. In a race against time, Mira's fingers flew across the keypad, her brow furrowed in concentration. The code was complex, the encryption nearly unbreakable, but she would not be denied. With a final keystroke, the device went dark, its dreadful power extinguished. In that moment, the tide of battle turned. The Council's forces, demoralized and leaderless, began to surrender en masse. The Phantom and her fleet pressed forward, securing key installations and rounding up the remaining Council members. As the dust settled and the fires of battle faded, a new dawn broke over the galaxy. Earth had emerged victorious, the Council's reign of tyranny at an end. But the cost had been high, and the scars of the war would linger for generations. On Earth, celebrations erupted in the streets as news of the victory spread. But in the halls of power, a more sober mood prevailed. They had won the war, but the task of rebuilding, of forging a new galactic order, had only just begun. President Novak addressed the nation, his voice heavy with the weight of history. "Today, we have achieved the impossible," he said, his eyes shining with unused tears. "Today, we have proven that the human spirit can never be contained, never be broken. But our work is not yet done. We must build a galaxy of peace, of cooperation, of mutual understanding. We must be the light in the darkness, the hope for a better tomorrow." As Earth's ships returned home, bearing the scars of battle and the hopes of a brighter future, a new chapter in the story of humanity began. The invisible war was over, but the struggle for a better galaxy had only just begun, sowing chaos and discord. In the aftermath of the Phantom's first strike, the Galactic Council scrambled to regain control. But the damage had been done. The cracks in their power structure widened with each passing day, as fear and uncertainty spread like a virus through their ranks. On 100 worlds, human operatives fanned the flames of rebellion. They whispered in the ears, accusations flew, and old alliances crumbled. In the midst of the turmoil, Earth's fleet struck again and again, targeting the Council's weakened defenses with surgical precision. On the planet Thaxis, a team of human infiltrators secured the loyalty of the local garrison, turning the planet's formidable defenses against the Council's ships. In the Argus cluster, a human strike force raided a key Council supply depot, making off with a cache of advanced weapons and technology. The Council, once a monolithic entity, fractured into a dozen squabbling factions. Some, seeing the writing on the wall, sought to make peace with the humans, to secure a place in the new order. Others, consumed by fear and pride, clung to their fading power, determined to fight to the bitter end. Amidst the growing chaos, a new figure emerged from the shadows. Admiral Ivanova, hero of the Invisible War, stepped into the light, her face a symbol of human defiance and determination. In a broadcast that reached every corner of the galaxy, Ivanova issued a challenge to the Council. "Your time is ending," she declared, her voice ringing with authority. "The age of human ascendancy has begun. We offer you a choice. Stand with us and forge a new future, or cling to your crumbling empire and be swept away by the tides of history." Her words struck like a thunderbolt, electrifying the downtrodden and striking fear into the hearts of the Council's loyalists. On 1,000 worlds, the oppressed masses rose up, casting off the chains of their servitude. The council, riven by internal strife and beset on all sides, could only watch in horror as their empire crumbled around them. Their fleets, once invincible, fell before the onslaught of human ships and rebel forces. In the final days of the war, Jeanne made a desperate gambit. With a loyal band of followers, she seized control of the Council's doomsday weapon, a device capable of unleashing untold destruction across the galaxy. But even as she prepared to unleash her vengeance upon the humans and their allies, a team of human operatives struck. Led by Kai Tanaka, they infiltrated Jeanne's stronghold, battling through her elite guard with skill and determination. In a final confrontation, Kai faced off against Jeanne, the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. The battle was fierce, a clash of wills and weaponry, but in the end, Kai emerged victorious. With a single decisive blow, he ended Jeanne's reign of terror and secured the doomsday device. As news of Jeanne's defeat spread, the last remnants of the Council's power crumbled. One by one, their ships and strongholds fell, until only a handful of diehards remained, isolated and powerless. On Earth, the news of the final victory was greeted with jubilation and relief. In the streets of cities across the planet, humans and aliens alike celebrated the dawn of a new era, a galaxy free from the Council's tyranny. But even as the celebrations raged, Earth's leaders knew that the true work was just beginning. The galaxy lay in ruins, its peoples traumatized and divided. It would take time, patience, and wisdom to heal the wounds of the past and build the lasting peace. In the weeks and months that followed, Earth took the lead in forging a new galactic order. A great conference was convened, bringing together representatives from 100 worlds. Under the guidance of human diplomats and thinkers, a new framework for cooperation and coexistence began to take shape. There would be challenges and setbacks, to be sure. The scars of the war ran deep, and old hatreds died hard. But as the galaxy began to rebuild, as trade routes reopened, and old enemies found common ground, a new sense of hope and possibility began to take hold. Earth, once a pariah among the stars, now stood tall as a beacon of freedom and justice. And though the road ahead was long and uncertain, one thing was clear: the age of human ascendancy had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The final gambit. As the galaxy reeled from the aftermath of the war, Earth's leaders knew that the time had come for the final blow. The Council, weakened and divided, was ripe for the taking. All that remained was to strike at the heart of their power and shatter their hold on the galaxy once and for all. In a secret bunker deep beneath the surface of Mars, Admiral Ivanova gathered her most trusted commanders. "The Council is on its knees," she said, her eyes blazing with determination. "But we cannot afford to underestimate them. They will fight to the last, and we must be ready for anything." For months, Earth's stealth fleet had been massing in the depths of space, preparing for the final assault. Ships from a dozen worlds joined their ranks, united in their determination to overthrow the Council's tyranny. As the fleet moved into position, Mira Singh and her team of hackers launched their most audacious attack yet. With a series of precise strikes, they crippled the Council's communication network, blinding their sensors and leaving them vulnerable to attack. In the confusion, Earth's fleet struck. Like a pack of wolves descending on wounded prey, they tore through the Council's defenses, targeting their command centers and power bases with ruthless efficiency. On the bridge of the Phantom, Commander Patel watched as the Council's ships fell before their onslaught. "This is for every human who suffered under their rule," she whispered, her eyes hard. "For every voice they tried to silence." As the battle raged, a desperate plan took shape in the mind of High Counselor Zorax. If the Council could not rule the galaxy, then they would see it burn. With a few loyal followers, he made his way to the Council's most closely guarded secret, a doomsday device capable of unleashing a wave of destruction across the stars. But Zorax had not reckoned on the skill and determination of Kai Tanaka. The master spy, having infiltrated the Council's inner sanctum, was ready for him. In a final, desperate struggle, Kai and Zorax fought hand to hand, the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. In the end, it was Kai who emerged victorious. With a final, crushing blow, he ended Zorax's madness and secured the Doomsday device. The threat of annihilation had been averted, but the battle was far from over. With their leadership in disarray, the Council's forces fell into chaos. Some fought on, clinging to their fading power with desperate tenacity. Others, seeing the writing on the wall, laid down their arms and surrendered. In the heart of the Council's capital, Admiral Ivanova led a final assault on their central command. The battle was fierce, a maelstrom of fire and fury. But in the end, Earth's forces prevailed. As the smoke cleared and the last of the Council's leaders were led away in chains, a hush fell over the galaxy. For the first time in living memory, the Council's iron grip had been broken. The galaxy was free, but the cost had been high. On Earth, the news of the final victory was met with jubilation and sorrow in equal measure. In homes and public squares across the planet, people wept for the fallen and celebrated the brave men and women who had fought and died for their freedom. In the days that followed, Earth's leaders set about the task of building a new galactic order. It was a daunting challenge, fraught with peril and uncertainty, but guided by the principles of freedom, justice, and mutual respect, they began to forge a new path. A great council was convened, bringing together representatives from every corner of the galaxy. Under the watchful eye of Earth's diplomats, a new charter was drafted, enshrining the rights and freedoms of all sentient beings. It was a moment of profound historical significance, a turning point in the story of the galaxy. For the first time, the diverse peoples of the cosmos were united not by force, but by a shared vision of a better future. As the Council concluded and the delegates returned to their homes, a sense of hope and possibility hung in the air. There would be challenges and setbacks, to be sure. Old wounds would take time to heal, and new threats would arise to test the fragile peace. But as Earth's ships set out across the stars, bearing the message of a new era, one thing was certain. The age of the Council's tyranny was over, and a new chapter in the story of the galaxy had begun. And at the center of it all, a shining beacon of hope and inspiration, stood Earth and its people, ready to lead the way into a brighter tomorrow. A new galactic order. In the aftermath of the Council's defeat, Earth found itself at the center of a new galactic order. The once isolated planet now held a position of unparalleled influence. Its leaders looked to for guidance and wisdom by the many races of the galaxy. President Novak, hailed as a visionary and a champion of freedom, set about the task of forging a lasting peace. In a series of historic addresses, he laid out his vision for a galaxy united by common values and shared purpose. "We stand at a crossroads in history," he declared, his voice resonating across the stars. "The old order has fallen, and it falls to us to build something better in its place. Let us forge a future of cooperation and understanding, where every sentient being, regardless of race or origin, is treated with dignity and respect." Under Earth's leadership, a new galactic assembly was convened, bringing together representatives from every corner of the cosmos. In a spirit of openness and good faith, they set about the task of drafting a new charter for the galaxy, one that enshrined the principles of democracy, justice, and individual liberty. It was a monumental undertaking, fraught with challenges and disagreements, but guided by the steadfast resolve of Earth's diplomats, the assembly persevered. In the end, a new constitution emerged, one that promised a brighter future for all. As the galaxy began to rebuild, Earth's technical and scientific expertise became a beacon of hope. Human engineers and scientists worked hand in hand with their alien counterparts, sharing knowledge and resources to tackle the great challenges of the age. Together, they'd rebuilt the shattered infrastructure of war-torn worlds, harnessing the power of advanced technology to bring prosperity and stability to even the most far-flung corners of the galaxy. They pushed the boundaries of scientific understanding, unlocking the secrets of the cosmos and paving the way for a new era of exploration and discovery. As the years passed, Earth's influence only grew. Human culture, once dismissed as primitive and backward, now captivated the galaxy. Human art, music, and literature found new audiences on distant worlds, bridging the gaps between races and fostering a new sense of unity and shared identity. But even as Earth basked in the glow of its newfound prominence, its leaders knew that the work of building a lasting peace was far from over. The scars of the war ran deep, and old enmities died hard. There were those who resented Earth's rise, who saw the planet as an upstart and a usurper. There were those who clung to the old ways, who yearned for a return to the days of the Council's iron rule. But Earth would not be deterred. With unwavering resolve, its leaders pressed forward, guided by the belief that a better future was within reach. They forged new alliances, brokered new treaties, and worked tirelessly to build a galaxy that was not just free, but truly united. And as the decades passed, their efforts bore fruit. The galaxy entered a new golden age, a time of unprecedented peace, prosperity, and progress. Under Earth's guidance, the races of the cosmos worked together as never before, harnessing their collective strength to achieve wonders that once seemed impossible. They colonized new worlds, charted new frontiers, and pushed the boundaries of knowledge to heights undreamed of. They built great cities that spanned the stars, and mighty fleets that kept the peace across the vast expanse of space. And at the heart of it all, a shining beacon of hope and inspiration, stood Earth. The once small planet had become a giant, a leader among the stars. Its people, tested by the fires of war and hardship, had emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to build a better future for all. As the leaders of Earth looked out across the galaxy they had helped to shape, they knew that their work was far from finished. There would always be new challenges to face, new threats to confront, and new opportunities to seize. But they also knew that they would not face those challenges alone. For in the struggle against the Council, Earth had forged unbreakable bonds of friendship and alliance with the many peoples of the galaxy. Together, they had fought and bled and triumphed, and together they would continue to stand, united in their determination to build a future of peace, freedom, and justice for all. And so, as the stars wheeled overhead and the ships of a dozen races plied the spaceways, the story of Earth's ascendancy came to a close. But it was not an ending, not truly. For in the tales that would be told in the years and centuries to come, the legend of Earth and its people would live on, a shining testament to the indomitable spirit of a small planet that had dared to stand against the darkness, and in doing so, had changed the galaxy forever.